Bum, bum, bum! What's up? I am Kevin Finch Fennell, and I'm starting a new podcast called Actually Watching the Sixers, because I am a masochist, and I'm actually going to watch the Philadelphia 76ers this year, every minute, every second. I want to watch this basketball team, because they are going to be terrible. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it with anyone. Anyone who else is going to watch this terrible, terrible basketball team play. And I'm so excited for it, which is the weird part. Like, they're not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun watching these basketball games. But somebody's got to do it. And it's going to be me. So that's the whole point of this. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe I'm sad. I just want to watch the 76ers play basketball. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the things I see. I want to talk about the coach. I mean, do we know anything about this coach? I mean, what did we learn last year that he can... What? I mean, last year was nothing. It was a nothing year. We won 19 games. What's going to be better about this year with this coach? So, like, really, that's one thing. I mean, and of course, this is the only positive thing we can look forward to all year. Nerlens Noel. Literally, the only good thing going for the Philadelphia 76ers in this year, this season, is Nerlens Noel. He's back. He's supposed to be healthy. He was very good in the summer league. He's the only professional basketball player on the team. It's very helpful. Let's talk about the rest of the Philadelphia 76ers for a second. Alright, there's Nerlens Noel. Let's look at the rotation. Henry Sims. Sure. Fantastic. Henry Sims. That's who you want to build this team around. KJ McDaniels. Rookie. I don't know. Does anyone know? Hollis Thompson. I mean, we saw enough of him last year that... Would he play any minutes for, like, the Wizards? Would he? Hollis Thompson, honestly. Name a team that he would get minutes for other than the Sixers. Starting minutes. Ridiculous. And then Michael Carter-Williams, MCW, the Rookie of the Year winner, which is so ridiculous to say out loud. Like, really? Michael Carter-Williams was the Rookie of the Year? Did he win the Rookie of the Year when we beat Miami in the first game? Which I was at, and it was amazing. Don't get me wrong. But, really? I mean, if as a Sixers fan, I'd much rather trade Michael Carter-Williams for something now. You can get a point guard. There's a billion of them. Kyle Lowry fell into the Toronto Raptors' lap last 2 years ago. And look at how that turned out. Like, you don't need to draft a point guard. I mean, luckily we hit on number 11 pick, which is good. So now we need to trade for an asset. I don't know. Maybe not. Luke Richard Mbah-a-Moute we got this year. He plays defense. That's something. Arnett Moultrie. I don't know. He could come up to me wearing his jersey and I still probably wouldn't know who he was. Tony Roten. I actually love Tony Roten. He's 6'6". He's a point guard. I don't know. He's long. He's fast. I've always liked Tony Roten. I liked him when he was on Memphis. I was happy when we got him. I mean, is there a chance, a small chance, he has a little James Harden in him? I mean, this is his third year in the league. He was better last year than he was his first. It might be his fourth year in the league. But I kind of like Tony Roten. 6'6" point guard. He's good. I feel like it. He has a little James Harden in him. Just a little. Which is okay. Alexei Zved. I always forget we got Alexei Zved. Ugh. I mean, what can you say about Alexei Zved? He was okay in Minnesota. I mean, he was on terrible Minnesota teams, and he got a couple minutes, and he looks like he has a shot. Elliot Williams. I literally don't know who that person is. I'm sorry. I follow basketball. To be fair, and completely honest, I didn't follow the Sixers that much last year. I had League Pass, and I was much happier as a person, and I watched other basketball games. But I still watch the Sixers. But this team, it just looks bad. We gotta look at it this way. This is the best part of the way to look at it. We should all put our hands on our hearts and say, in Sam Hinkie, we trust. Because honestly, I do. The man is smarter than everyone else. He is doing exactly what needs to be done for the Sixers to be an amazing basketball team again. Because that piddling 7, 8, possibly out of the playoffs crap we were doing for years was so frustrating as a basketball fan. I mean, it was just not fun to watch. And so this isn't fun to watch, but at least it's interesting. I mean, we're going to have Nerlens Noel, possibly still Michael Carter-Williams, Dario Saric when he comes over, and of course Joel Embiid and Nerlens Noel together. It's going to be amazing. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. It's just such a disappointment. So yeah, that's pretty much the podcast right now. We're talking about the Sixers. Some of the things I want to do is I want to look at things that people are actually writing about the Sixers. If anyone ever writes about the Sixers, it probably won't be positive. So in that note, we're going to talk about Grantland.com's preview for a second, where Bill Simmons, the god of Grantland, and Bill Simmons, he's great, don't get me wrong, I love him, and Jalen Rose, former basketball player, they talk about the preview, and they all talk about how bad the Sixers are going to be, the 30th out of 30 teams in the NBA. It's not going to be a fun season. I don't think anyone's picking anyone to be worse than the Sixers this year, so let's surprise some people. No, let's not, actually. Let's keep losing, because that's what we also need to talk about. The victory, the first win for the Sixers this year, and probably one of the very few, is that lottery reform was not passed in the NBA. If you don't know what this is, the whole idea is that in the lottery, the 3 worst teams are locked in to get the top 3 picks in some order, no matter what happens. That's what happens. And this was going to make it so the odds were now going to be the top 6 teams. So that the worst 3 teams in the league would then have the same odds as the top, well, not the same odds, but closer odds with the top 6 teams, the lower 6 teams in the league. And so that would have screwed the Sixers very badly this year, because then we have to, if we don't get the number 1 pick this year, again, it's just, it's impossible. It's not impossible, because obviously we keep not getting the pick. That's what the lottery keeps proving, is that the worst team in the league doesn't always get the number 1 pick. And we weren't the worst team in the league last year, which is why we didn't get the number 1 pick. The Bucks didn't get the number 1 pick either. The Cavs got the number 1 pick. But still, we need another very good lottery pick. I have no idea what's going on in college basketball. I haven't been paying attention to anything going in the preseason. I don't know who's going to be out there. I'm praying it's going to be somebody LeBron-like. Because, I mean, with the 2 players, like I said, Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid in our court, get us a good small forward and any point guard. Any point guard. And this team is easily a 5 in the East in, I don't know, 2 years? Like next year's going to be bubbling, but it's going to be a lot more fun than this year. And that's what we need. That's why I'm starting this now. I want to get in on the ground floor, because this is the ground floor. I thought last year was going to be the ground floor and it was going to be rock bottom. But this year's going to be worse, because we drafted with our first round pick a guy that's not going to play for the 2nd straight year. Which is funny. It is. But it's not promising. Here's some other stuff that's going on. ESPN, the insiders, all picked their preseason choices for all the awards. Nerlens Noel only got two picks as Rookie of the Year? And everyone's picking Jabari Parker? I mean, didn't Jabari Parker fall in the draft? Wasn't Jabari Parker supposed to go to Utah? I mean, isn't that the story we all wanted? And anyway, but Jabari, I don't know. He was good. I feel like Nerlens Noel's going to be better. Nerlens Noel was going to be the #1 pick last year. Before he tore his ACL in college. He was going to be. They were talking about it. He had more blocks than Anthony Davis at that time in the season when Anthony Davis destroyed the blocks record. It was, to be fair, Nerlens Noel was exactly honing in on the blocks record and trying to beat Anthony Davis. But hey, competition. But I don't know. My voice went real high there for a second. So the two people that picked Nerlens Noel, Henry Abbott, who writes the True Hoop stuff on ESPN, is really good, and David Thorpe, who's another insider writer. And then everybody else, pretty much 22 people picked Jabari. That's ridiculous. Ah, well, that's their picks. I'm picking Nerlens Noel as Rookie of the Year. Got Defensive Player of the Year. Pretty much, I think it's gonna be Anthony Davis, just because he's gonna be bonkers this year, and with a Sheik next to him from parts of the game at least, you think, and then you got I can't remember his name. Ryan Anderson back on. Oh, Ryan Anderson's so good. People forget how good Ryan Anderson is. So that's gonna be a fun team to watch. And I miss Drew as much as the next guy, but you know, I'll take Nerlens Noel, thank you. Because anyway, Sixth Man of the Year. Everyone, ESPN's pretty much picking Isaiah Thomas. Really? Is that true? Yeah, everyone's picking Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, Taj Gibson, Brandon Crawford, Ryan Anderson. Jamal Crawford. I don't know why I said that one. Anyway, moving on. I mean, winning sixth man. It's a hard thing to pick. I mean, who knows who's going to pop out of nowhere to be the Sixth Man of the Year. That's what always happens. I'll put money on Ryan Anderson because I always liked him. If he's coming off the bench and just launching, why not? Just let him launch. Of course, my all-time favorite Sixth Man is probably Mike Dunleavy Jr., Chicago Bulls. He's my favorite player in the NBA. That's just something I'm probably going to come up a bunch. Mike Dunleavy Jr. He's the best. Who's going to win MVP? LeBron. I mean, Durant's gone for at least a little while, enough that he's just completely screwed in the MVP argument. Doesn't matter what he does for the last 50 to 60 games, wherever he's going to end up playing. I heard he's going to 22 is what I heard last, so he's going to miss. And then Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they're going to split votes. I mean, this is how Mike Schmidt won MVPs, is that two Mets split the votes. I mean, that happens. I mean, and you can't have two guys going up for the MVP. Doesn't matter which one does better. Unless Chris Paul gets hurt or Blake Griffin gets hurt, and that's not going to help the Clippers anyway. It's going to make the Clippers less fun. I mean, other than that, who knows who could win MVP other than LeBron? Somebody could launch into the stratosphere, but who would it be? How crazy would it be if Rudy Gay just had the craziest year in Sacramento and just went nuts? That'd be funny. That's my pick. Rudy Gay. Oh my god, what are the odds on Rudy Gay winning the MVP? Give them to me right now. I'll put $10 on like a 90-1 odds that Rudy Gay is going to win the MVP. Because how funny would it be if he did? I'm not saying it could happen, but Sacramento has weird lineup, and if Rudy Gay just decided to be that player that everyone saw on Team USA in 2010 when they won the FIBA with Durant, when Rudy Gay was just going nuts. Like, people, that's what everyone always thinks about when they think about Rudy Gay. They don't look at his numbers, which are disastrous. They don't look at his usage percentage, which is just gross. They remember him on Team USA, like, handling business against really good competition on a really good, stacked, talented USA team. And now you have Boogie, who did the same thing with Rudy Gay this year. It's just, it seems that it would make sense that Rudy Gay and Boogie could play together and be good. But Sacramento is just terrible anyway. I don't know, I'm getting into a Sacramento tangent. Rudy Gay, dark horse sleeper candidate for MVP. Not really, though. Who's going to win Coach of the Year? I mean, honestly, this is just a flip of everything. Like, anyone could win this. Pop should win it every year, and he never does. And no one... Oh, 2 people picked Popovich, probably just because. But you got to give it to him. He's the best coach in the league. He is. Hands down, Greg Popovich is the best coach in the NBA right now. A lot of people are picking Steve Kerr. Yeah, of course they're going to pick Steve Kerr. He's hot. David Blatt. Yeah, because David Blatt's going to be the reason the Cavs are going to get better. Come on. It has nothing to do with the players they acquired. It has all to do with David Blatt. Not to besmirch the guy. Well, but besmirching the guy. 6-man defensive player. Most improved. I mean, another one. It could be anything. A bunch of people pick Steve Adams. Sure. My pick, Jonas Valanciunas. I love Jonas Valanciunas. I said it wrong before. I said it right the second time. Joan Valanciunas, or Jonas Dunk thus ensues thus. Jonas Dunk ensues thus, as I like to call him. Is a great player. I loved him. I watched the Raptors all last year for Jonas. I want to watch Raptors games for Jonas again because he's just... I think he's really talented. I think it's fun to watch a really good big man. And I love European big men. I don't know why. And that was weird to say out loud. I love European big men. It's hard not to sound a little homosexual saying that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But, I love European big men. Give me Arvydas Sabonis and Vlade Divac over anybody. Anyway, that was fun tangent. And there you go. That was pretty much everything. I wanted to do this first episode, talk about some basketball, see if anybody else wants to talk about basketball. You can email me at actuallywatchingthesixers@gmail.com.